Welcome all dear souls. My blessings to you on this full moon day for good and joyous practice and progress in yoga, especially Kundalini Kriya Yoga. I too had to travel the path, and despite all difficulties, I was undeterred in my progress of the Kundalini Kriya Yoga. My blessings to you all. It was in the year 1976 that from Pune I made my way to a small village town 120 miles from Pune. It was in the district of Nagar in a small village called Pathardi. There is a very famous Shiva temple in this village of Pathardi, and it is called Mahatar Dev, means the old god, the ancient of days. And I had an intense desire to go and visit this place of Lord Shiva and meditate there and be lost in Samadhi. Although in those days Samadhi was intermittent, sometimes I went into deep meditations and sometimes I went into Samadhi, depending upon my body condition and the nature of my external work, my responsibilities. And yes, now this was before I was married, so this must have been not in 1967, it must have been before I was married in 72, right? So you guys may be knowing it, it's in my book, Wings to Freedom. So it must be 1970. I think it was in the year 1970 or 72. 1970 or 70. Anyway, whatever it was, I made my way. I took the big red bus. In those days, the old village buses had no windows, no window panes. The windows opened to the dust. So we went around this public bus, public transport on the dusty roads. I started from Pune, and as I went to the village, it left me at the main town of Nagar. From the main town of Nagar, I had to go to a little village, but there was no transport to that village. So I hired a bullock cart. A bullock cart is a carriage which carries you, which is pulled by two bullocks. So that's a bullock cart. I don't know in abroad whether those bullock carts are prevalent. They must be obsolete there now. And so I hired a bullock cart and I went to this village. The driver of the bullock cart took me there. I took my belongings, which was just a bundle, a few clothes and a bedding, chatai to sleep on, grass mat. And as I entered the village of Pathardi, an exhilaration and a joy came over my heart, and I was in carefree abandon. I had no money with me. I threw all the money to the winds as soon as I entered this, saw the temple of Mahadev, and I got free of that. I only had two clothes, the upper cloth which I wore, a yellow uparna like this, and a lungi, and my normal day-to-day clothes. When I entered this village, I went to the temple priest and I told him I want accommodation to stay. So in those days accommodation to stay was pretty cheap, 50 cents for a week or something. So I went for 50 cents for a week, I'm telling you an equivalent of dollars. And he said, oh, which gotra are you, which lineage do you belong to? In India we have lineages, gotras. So I said the Vashishta Gotra, the lineage of the great Rishi Vashishta. So he said, oh, there's a Ram temple on top of the hill. Go to top of the hill and meditate in the Ram temple. So I went to the top of the hill. The night I was alone there. Lord Rama's temple was there. And as soon as I sat for my meditation, a huge figure appeared before me. That was the figure of Hanuman. And he came and he raised his hands, he put his hands on his chest and pulled his chest apart, like tearing his chest, within which I saw the image of Lord Ram and Sita. Beautiful darshan, beautiful vision. Not a vision, but an actual apparition of Hanuman I had that day. And so I began my meditations. Now during these meditations there was one difficulty. I did go into samadhi, but there was a thin film of mind. In my samadhi I could clearly see the vision of the Lord, both in his form, I could see Lord Shiva, and without his form. But the thin film of mind was still there. My mind had become a transparent crystal, but it was still mind. This could not be removed. And try as I may. So I carried on my meditations, praying to God, praying to Lord Shiva. One day it so happened that I went to wash my clothes at the village well. Now this is the old well where you see in Jerusalem 2000 years ago, women with their pitchers in Beirut and Jerusalem used to go by the well and fill up their pitchers. In India this thing is still prevalent in the villages. At some villages there are wells where women put their pitchers on their head. India is of course the oldest culture in the world. And they go to the village well and take their pitchers, fill water. Then water which is outside, they go to another outer ring and they wash their clothes with the water drawn from the well. I went there to wash my clothes, but I had never washed my clothes in my life. So it was a great problem for me. I only had two clothes. One was the upper garment, which is called the upper uparna, the shawl. And when I washed one, I wore the other. When I went there, to my surprise, I was trying to sort of figure out a strategy as how I should wash my clothes on the stone by the side of the well. A lady appeared. She must have been about 70 years of age, 65 to 70 years of age, and fair with a big forehead and a big tika, a kumkum, in the center of her forehead. And I could see, but I could not see, but I could see a tremendous dazzle. But still, she did not give me to know in the beginning who she was. My intuition had developed quite well, so she had concealed her radiance. Still I was able to have a faint feeling but not sure. So she came up to me and she said, "Look, it appears that you do not know how to wash your clothes. You are from families in the city and big towns where they don't wash it. Give it to me, I will wash your clothes." So she took this, I've actually related this story in one of my books, in Wings to Freedom or something. She took back the uparna and a little bit of clothes that I had, and she washed them for me. And I sat there like a little child of 2. I became a child of 2 in my innocence. Such was her majesty. But I did not have the power, nor the thinking gumption to approach and touch her feet or to clasp her feet and to say, "Oh Mother, I am so blessed, you are the Divine Mother." I knew it, but I didn't know. I can't explain what state was there. But she sort of made me sit there. I was not able to move. So she washed the clothes. She dried them. And she went behind the clothes like a curtain. And then she removed the curtain of the shawl which she had washed and said, "Now look, now do you know how to clean things up?" And then she put the curtain back. So after that, yes, and I did pranam to her and I thanked her, and she left. She walked about 50 yards and went behind some old village huts turned to the left, and then it dawned and opened upon me fully that this was the Divine Mother Durga. So I got up and I ran behind her. And I turned to the left, and there were scanty trees. It was high desert area. And I could just see, and she had just disappeared. There was nobody there. So I just touched the ground with my thumb, took the mud of the road and put it on my forehead and said, I am blessed. Thank you, Mother. But this was not all. There was a deeper meaning to this. That night when I slept, I was thinking of this incident, that how fortunate, how could a non-being like me have the Divine Mother to wash my clothes, my dirty linen. Like, I wash your linen and garbage. I tell you, I am the garbage man and you are the can. But this is so also she helped me in a way that when I slept in the night, that night I had a deep sleep. And in the dream, the Divine Mother came in her radiance and glory. She was washing the clothes. She hung the clothes up, and then she went behind the curtain of the shawl which she had washed and pulled that curtain aside. She pulled it aside and said, now is everything clear? You must know how to wash your negativity and clothes. When she said that in my dream, the difficulty in my meditation, my mind moved aside. I told you I was meditating, but I could see Lord Shiva in his form and formless state, but I could never see him beyond mind. The mind had become a crystal. She removed the mind itself, and I entered from Savikalp to Nirvikalp Samadhi. And I saw myself sitting up and got into the state of Nirvikalp Samadhi. So this is the outer lesson of the inner meaning to my life and philosophy. So Parvati is Shiva in feminine form, the dynamic energy. You need the dynamic energy. Sometimes she comes in a form, sometimes it will come as energy, but it will help you on the path, clear the path. So that was my entry. That was the penetration of the star, which I call you. After that experience, when she removed the curtain, I went through the tunnel of the star and then merged into the no-mind state, beyond mind state, from Savikalp to Nirvikalp Samadhi, the thought-free state of enlightenment. This is one of the great experiences I had in 70. And I hope this story is like a blessing to you, that better late than never, and the Divine never lets you down. This is the model of the story. God bless and Godspeed. Oh.